Good afternoon. By now, everybody who is paying attention should know that we are setting a foundation to put ourselves in what you could consider the founding points for civil war. And that is a huge problem. House Bill 1551 was passed 11-3 in Florida, saying that we can deploy our troops specifically saying to Texas to help with that problem they have down at the border, in conflict with the decision made by the judicial branch. As we know, please educate yourselves. We have a legislative, executive, and judicial branch. That judicial branch decided that the way in which Texas was handling the border was outside of the bounds they needed to. The response should have been, okay, we will change that, but we will implement other ways. And if it's a problem, we'll bring that up too. That's how we democratically handle solutions. The way we're not trying to handle solutions is fighting one another through what seemingly is a civil war problem. If the federal government and states start to have this type of action in response to those actions, it is inevitably looking like a civil war problem. And I want to weigh in on that because I'm a taxpayer. And you have to understand why that matters. This is why voting and having those elected officials understand that its constituents or the individuals that voted for you or didn't vote for you still have to weigh in on what you say. And we need to be able to see that that weigh in is happening. I, for one, do not agree that we should be considering sending troops that are supposed to have been for the state and emergencies in the state anywhere else that is going to start to fight against other people that are part of the same state. Do you understand how somehow we've gotten back to this problem? In 1777, we came under one flag. Then we find out that the way they separated themselves, even at that time, was the Union and the Confederacy. 1861 to 1865, guys, we had the Civil War. We had the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. That was a succession of southern states that did not like the way things were going. And they wanted to have their own way. Now, we're not here to hash out all of the ifs, ands, and buts about why this happened. We're just here to point out the simple fact that it was a civil war. It was a time where everyone who was supposed to be under the same flag could not figure out how to agree and not kill each other. And through leadership, we decided to kill each other. And I don't know if this video will even go up because you see a lot of people say you have to use the term unalive. Well, I'm not going to use it. And what I'm trying to simply say is we do not want that to be where we are today. We need to be able to weigh in and say, hey, we don't want to lay a foundation for a civil war. We would like to see our legislative, executive and judicial branch. We would like to see them work together on this issue. And if our judicial branch makes a concession, whether you like it or not, you go through the way it's supposed to function, not decide to go to arms. The ability to go to arms is for the citizens. It should not be the states doing this. Citizens have the right to say, hey, we don't like the way the government is functioning and you guys are being real oppressive and we're about to fight back. The states and our higher elected officials, you guys need to talk this out. You don't need to try to use that type of authority to prove your point because you hurt a whole lot of people. This is why I'm running for governor of Florida, because we do need to weigh in on this. Citizens, you do need to weigh in on this. Who on earth are we fighting? Really ask yourselves that question. Who, if the states are sending troops, what troops are going to go there in conflict with when the states are sending troops? It's the same. It's under the same flag, guys. That we cannot implode. This is what we're trying to stop. It's imploding. I urge you to get out there and say, hey, we don't want to implode. You know, we may have our differences. Absolutely have our differences. There may be policies that turn into legislation that clearly have an effect on specific demographics. That's a fact. But we don't want to fight this out. Not like they did in 1861 to 1865. If there is a place to reform the legislation, let's make the reformations. You need to be very convincing, and I mean very convincing, that we need to send families to get ready to create an environment that is pitted against another family member. You got to tell me that there's nothing else that we could do, that you could do. Because like I said, a lot of people back the Second Amendment because it is socially viewed as a way for the people to stand against tyranny. You can put whatever other nuances you want to, but that's a fact. It's just socially viewed as a way for the people to be able to fight against tyranny, to be able to fight against having to go back to authoritarianism. We have a democracy, and we really need to stand on that and see if our leadership has the ability inside of our borders to work things out before they start talking about sending fellow Americans against fellow Americans. Because I can't think of what other group is going to, hey, you start sending the National Guard, what is the federal government going to, who are they going to send? We're going to call a spade on this one. That's not the way to handle business. So I encourage you to get into the news. I don't really care where you get it from, but get into the news and ask yourselves, hey, do we want to remotely have a civil war or even start feeling like this is a time to be in a civil war? I can tell you right now, as a father, I think not. I think not. And I don't, as a dad, no, I don't want to have the ideal of a civil war. I do not want to, but I do understand that where we are today and talking about sending those troops down there to support that in direct conflict with what the judicial system has put out says that we have a serious problem with our leadership, and the checks and balances have all but gotten out of control. But again, this can be fixed. So definitely make yourselves aware of what's going on. Make yourselves aware. If you're not getting enough information, let your local government know, hey, we want to hear more about what's going on. You need to speak up on this. You need to send out flyers. You need to send out any type of correspondence to let us know that these are the things that are happening and that's what's going on. And these are the aesthetics of what this could lead to. Let's be very careful that we do not repeat history because we are trying to erase history. You guys have a great day.